I'm more concerned with the human condition and how we can improve it. That's the question. The answer? Evolve. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes. Good morning, Columbia, South Carolina, and to everyone who is listening to us via the web, welcome to Evolve, and I am your host, Tazima, on this Friday morning, and it's a beautiful one. Oh, it feels good outside, too. You know what? We are going to have a great show today. I am so excited about this show. First, we're going to start off with our yogic moment with Pamela Merriweather. And then I have a guest on the line that's going to tell you some amazing things about how you can improve your overall health and well-being in just 15 minutes a day. And I know y'all are probably like, whatever, Tazima. No, I'm very serious. In just 15 minutes a day. So it's going to be really, really exciting. But I believe that I have my yogic friend, Pamela Merriweather, on the line. Pam?
I'm here. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful Friday.
It is a beautiful Friday. All the colors and stuff. I love it. The trees are changing colors. Yes.
I know, and a little bit chilly. I think we might build a fire tonight.
Oh, okay. You have to invite me over.
You're invited always.
So what is our yogic moment for the weekend?
Well, I wanted to talk just briefly about choosing a path and not feeling the need to find the path.
Oh.
Yeah, because, there are a lot of people practicing yoga now, and and even for those who aren't practicing yoga might be making choices in their own spiritual paths or journey. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so easy to get caught up in this idea that there is the one path that we need to find and follow.
Right.
And it's very tempting once we find something that we think works for us to then sort of feel that other paths are not right or not as good as. And I think it's a really important thing just to remind ourselves today that we've got to learn to listen to the inner wisdom. And that's one of the great things that yoga gives us the ability to do, is to be more aware of our own internal wisdom and connect more to that so that we can be comfortable making choices and be committed to a path and not be, negative towards anyone else's choices.
Exactly. Or even not feeling like you're locked in now to this path only.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think if we are, really listening to the internal wisdom, we can call it that gut feeling. We all know what that is. When we're really checked into that, then we know when we're on the right path for us and if we need to make changes or not. So I think that sort of that light within us will guide us if we take the time to be still and listen.
Well, you know what? I love that, finding a path and not the path.
Right.
I love that. So
yeah, I think that's the simple message today, is that there are many paths that lead to the same end, and it's okay that one path might not look like the next, but we're all headed, hopefully, in a similar direction.
Well, you know what? Your yogic moment for the weekend plays right into the show and my guest that I have today. So we're there. We're in sync, you and I. So
that's great. There are no accidents, my friend.
There are no accidents. Well, listen, Pam, tell everybody your website and how they can check out your blog. And I'm telling you, her blog is so inspirational. I read it, and it's just like, oh, yes, I needed to hear that, or I needed to read that. So tell us your web address.
It is Pamela Yoga. That's all one word, Pamela yoga.com.
PamelaYoga.com.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, listen, thank you so much, and I'll be talking to you next Friday.
Thank you, Tazima. Everyone have a great weekend.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
All right, you guys, you know what? We're going to move right on into the next part of the show because I'm really excited about this. And thank you so much, Pam, because I love Pam to death. But I have a couple of questions for you, and I know they're going to sound pretty weird, so you're going to have to bear with me. But I do want you to think about something. Now, if you could learn to greatly enhance your body's self-healing ability, do you think you'd be interested? What if you could reduce stress, have more energy, rely less on drugs, eliminate pain, get sick less often, sleep better, and generally lead a happier life? Do you think you'd be interested in that? And what if you could do all this in just 15 minutes a day? Now, you know what? I hear some of you guys saying, you know what? Right. Okay. Doubting that it's possible. But on the phone, my guest is going to share with you how this is indeed possible. So let me tell you who I have on the line. Sifu Anthony was born in Manhattan, New York. For many years, he suffered from a debilitating case of clinical depression, and he successfully healed himself by practicing the techniques of what's called flowing Zen. Sifu Anthony became so passionate about sharing these techniques with others that in 2004, he quit his job as a senior network engineer and moved to Florida in order to commit to teaching people how to heal themselves using, and I know I'm probably going to botch this up because I'm used to hearing it pronounced as Qigong, but I think Sifu Anthony will say Qigong, but we'll get that straight. And he also teaches Tai Chi. Now, Sifu Anthony has taught thousands of students to heal themselves of a wide variety of health issues. And now what's really awesome about this, he's coming to Columbia, South Carolina for an all-day event to share these techniques with us, okay, on February 9th, and that's 2013, okay? Let me be clear, because, you know, we get it confused sometimes. February 9th, 2013, and that's going to be at the Big Apple, and I'll give you more information on that. But one of the things that I love about Sifu Anthony, I mean, he's so humble. He's very, very easy to talk to. I had him on the show before. It was awesome. And his mission, this is what he says, his mission is to empower people to dramatically improve their lives with the amazing arts of Tai Chi, Qigong or Qigong, Kung Fu, and meditation. So without further ado, and I am so honored to have him back on the show. Good morning, Sifu Anthony.
Good morning, Tazima.
It is such a pleasure to have you back.
It's great being back. I really enjoyed the last one too.
Oh,
a lot of fun.
I really enjoyed our conversation, and you know, the whole idea of you wanting to give back and to teach people how to empower themselves, you know, and to connect with their own health. That is so important, you know, and so many of us just take our health for granted, or we feel like we have to take all these medications, or there's no hope for us, or I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too old, I'm too stiff. So I love talking to you because you just throw all that out the window. So first
I do this with my students all the time.
Well, first of all, because this is the first time that you're on the air with me at this time slot, I'm sure there's many people that haven't met you yet. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what led to your transformation and ultimately you becoming this master teacher of Flowing Zen?
Sure. Well, to make a long story short, I was suffering from depression. It was after college. Something happened to me. I had been really successful in college and high school, and then after college, it just all sort of caught up with me, and I was extremely depressed, clinically depressed. For those who don't know what depression is like, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's a really deep despair. You become non-functional. The way I like to tell people, if they're not familiar with depression, what I tell them is, imagine the worst case of the blues that you've ever had, imagine complete lack of joy, then magnify that by 10 times, and that's a mild case of clinical depression.
Oh, a mild case.
Yes, that's it.
Oh.
The depressives out there will know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's what hit me after college, and remember, this was the 90s, the mid-90s, so depression still wasn't talked about as widely as it is now. There was still a bit of a stigma.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even know that I had depression for a while. I just knew that I was getting worse and worse and worse, and I was in addition to the depression, I had some low back pain, I had chronic bronchitis. I was a mess. It was just falling apart. And eventually I even became suicidal, which is why I say it, and I mean it. It's true when I say it, that these arts saved my life. They literally saved my life. I honestly and sincerely believe that I would not have made it without these arts.
And, I remember when you were on the show the last time, you were saying that it had got so bad that you would, like, wake up and wait for a minute and be like, maybe the feeling is gone. And then, bam, it was right back again, and you just felt like anything would be better than this.
Yes, and that's a very common experience for people who are depressive. Mm-hmm. You wake up in the morning, there's a fog of despair. You hope that it's just going to go away, but of course, that's like hoping for diabetes to just disappear one morning. It doesn't mm-hmm. work like that. It's an actual chemical imbalance. It's an actual illness. It's not just in your head, and you can't just, wait for it to disappear someday. It's not going to work that way.
So, Sifu, how long did you actually suffer from this before you began to practice these arts that led to your healing? What was the window there?
That's a good question. Well, my students like to hear that I was actually undisciplined in the beginning. So I was suffering from depression. It was, you tend to slip into these depressions, especially the first time. I would say I was slipping in for a period of about 3 to 4 years before I really had to pay full attention to it. Mm. Then I actually did. I went and I learned from my teacher, Grandmaster Wong. And I flew to San Francisco from New York City to learn from him. Mm. I did. But I was already deep enough in my depression that basically I didn't practice. It's what I tell my students. It's the number one point of failure, is that students just don't practice. It's only 15 minutes a day that they need to practice, but that, as easy as that sounds, it's not, sometimes you're just not ready to do that. Mm-hmm. So I struggled for about a year, actually maybe it was more like a year and a half, almost 2 years, where I was practicing on and off before I finally said, you know what, I've had enough. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I need to do something about this. I actually already have the tools. What's my excuse for not practicing every day for 15 minutes?
And you know what, though, so many, you mentioned earlier, you just said, for some people, for whatever reason, just 15 minutes a day, you get lost. I mean, it's like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow turns in, I'll do it the next day, and then it's next week. Before I took yoga serious, okay, I was the same way. I mean, I could practice. I have routines that I could practice for just 10 minutes. That's all. Out of 24 hours, just take 10 minutes to practice. And for whatever reason, I could not devote myself to giving myself those 10 minutes. Why do you think it's like that for most of us? Because most people, you can say 10, 15 minutes and it's like, okay, that's no biggie. But they can't slow down long enough to do that, which is amazing to me. And I was one of them.
Yep. It's funny. This is half of my job, really. It's funny that you mentioned it. You think that most of what I do is just teach. The teaching is the easy part and the most enjoyable part for me. The rest of it is that support material on my blog, through my mm-hmm. articles, all my my students in person, charts that I make, is conquering this issue. I have my ideas. I don't know that I have the definitive answer. So, for example, I think that one problem is people just don't have the habit developed. Mm-hmm. When I see students who actually develop the habit, for example, they just get into the routine of every morning they wake up and they do their Qigong. By the way, you had it right the first time. It's pronounced Qigong.
Oh, Qigong. Good. Okay.
It's spelled differently depending on how you Romanize the Chinese, but it's always pronounced Qigong. So okay. You had it right. You were perfect the first time.
Okay. Good.
So then the other reason, I think, this is my experience, and I've told a lot of people, and what I see is that some people, they really have to get to a state of readiness where, honestly, and it's unfortunate, but things have to get bad enough in their life. That's what happened with me.
Mm-hmm.
Things have to get bad enough that they are absolutely determined to make a change. So when you hit that point in your life, and I think we all hit it sooner or later in our life, or we hit a few of them, and then finally we say, this one I'm going to make a big change. When you are ready, it's amazing what can happen, because what happens is students, they'll do anything. They say if they're so much more amenable to whatever I say. If I say, actually in your case, I think you need to practice 15 minutes twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. They're fine. Whatever you say, Sifu, whatever I can do to get rid of this pain,
right,
or get rid of this illness.
It's funny you say that, too, because it wasn't until I started suffering from lower back pain, and I mean, it was really bad. And plus, my neck, I had these really long dreadlocks that came past my waist. And because they were so heavy, they caused my neck to bulge in the opposite direction. Yeah, so I was in so much pain. By that time, I heard this voice saying to me, begin to practice yoga for flexibility. But you're right. I couldn't do 10 minutes before, okay? But then when I got in so much pain and I heard that voice to tell me, I had to improve my flexibility and help quiet the mind. Now I practice, an hour and a half. Yeah. So you're right. Sometimes you have to hit that wall before you're like, okay, I'm willing to do whatever I need to do.
It's also part of our culture, I think, American culture in particular, where we literally take better care of our cars than we do our bodies.
Oh, yes.
The things we would never do to our cars, the things that we do to our bodies. We don't just let stuff break on our cars. We change the oil ahead of time. We get the belts checked. We check the air and the tire. We do all these preventative things in the car so that it won't just break.
But
then when it comes to our bodies, we wait for things to break.
Right.
And we say, I guess I better fix this now.
I better fix this now. Well, you know what? Tell us exactly, what is Flowing Zen?
Well, Flowing Zen is the name of my website and the name of my school. And I use it as sort of an umbrella term because I do teach a couple different arts. The main art that I teach is, like we said earlier, it's called Qigong.
Oh, wait a minute. So, Sifu, I don't mean to cut across you, but I want to be clear about something. So you coined the term or the phrase Flowing Zen?
Yes and no. There's some ancient terms. My teacher actually used the term a few times.
Okay.
And I love the term, and I took it. Okay,
so it's not like a discipline of itself. It's a combination of disciplines. Right.
It's a combination. Basically, it's what I learned from my teacher.
Okay.
That's an easy way to say it. Rather than put together a bunch of long and confusing Chinese words like Shaolin Qigong or Tai Chi Chuan or Chuan, which is the Chinese term for Zen. All those terms they don't mean anything to the average American. So the term Flowing Zen is a lot simpler. It sums it up for people, and then we can explain it later. So, for example, we can explain what Qigong is and what is Tai Chi and what is Zen meditation.
Yeah, and that's actually, you must be reading my sheet because those are some of the questions that I have for you. So, I'm sorry, go on. You were telling us what Flowing Zen is.
So, to me, the Flowing Zen is just a combination of these arts in a new method. I call it a revolutionary method. It's really how I teach it and how you practice it. In the old days, it would be very different. First of all, you'd be lucky to learn any one of these arts, and it would take you a long time. You'd have to be a disciple. It would take you a long time to earn the trust of the teacher, etc. And you don't have to do that anymore. You can learn. What my teacher did and what I have continued with the same kind of work is to streamline it. What are the techniques that people need to get results now? Because, like, for me, for example, if I hadn't had the right technique soon enough, I'd be dead. You need results soon. By the time you get to that point where, remember, I did that, what I said earlier, I let my car break. I got to the point where I was a real mess. When you're at that stage, you need results fast. You don't have time to become a disciple for 3 years, to practice these arts and wait. You don't have all the time for that.
Right.
So what my teacher has done and what I've done, what I've continued to do, is to streamline the methodology so that you only learn these specific techniques you need to get the results that you want. And you can do it in 15 minutes a day. That's the real secret to the success, is we have this streamlined routine that can be done in 15 minutes a day, and the results are just unbelievable.
You know I'm coming to the class.
I expect you to be there.
I'm coming to the class, and I'm coming to the private session, too.
Good. You're going to love it. You're going to be absolutely thrilled with what you do.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's like Pamela was saying, I am one of those people who don't believe in just one thing. I'm open. And so if my spirit tells me that, you know what, this is a good thing, you should check it out, then I honor that. And I was so impressed the last time we talked. It was like, I know I'm going to meet him. I'm going to do this class. But listen, I know that you also say, and after you answer this, we're going to have to go into commercial break. Oh, wait a minute. Let me give out the telephone number. If you guys have a question for Sifu Anthony, and this is not going to be the only time he's going to be on the show. I'm going to have him on regularly all the way up until February 9th when he's actually here. But if you have a question for him, feel free to call in, and the telephone number is 748-9293, 748-9293, and that's area code 803 for those of you outside of the Columbia area. But Sifu, before we go into commercial break, I know that you say that you believe that these techniques, or the flowing Zen, is like the medicine of the future. Can you expand on that for us?
I really honestly believe that that's where we're headed with medicine. I believe we're in a big crisis with the medical system. I'm sure you know this, I'm sure your readers know this, there's a lot of serious problems with the medical system. We've got a lot of good people in a bad system, and it's just not working.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, there is, as you say so often, Tazima, that there's this evolution going on. There's a spiritual evolution going on in the world, I think. People are looking internally for answers rather than externally.
Right.
And that's what I see a lot of. I see all the time people who are healing them stuff. Literally, I have students who have healed themselves of stuff that the world's best hospitals cannot. They can't do that.
Right, and not to mention the cost.
The cost is negligible compared to, you can drop $20,000 quite easily on Western medicine in a week. Exactly.
And so I like you, I tend to believe that these types of practices, like you said, people are looking inward now as opposed to outward. I was just reading real quick. Those energy drinks, those 5-hour energy drinks that so many people are getting, because everybody's tired too. That's the other thing. And what you're going to be able to show them is how to increase energy naturally. But I was reading where they're causing people to have heart attacks and high blood pressure, and that's because everybody wants this real quick fix. We're tired, we're aggravated, we're stressed out. And what you're going to be teaching is a way to eliminate all of that naturally without having to reach for that 5-hour energy drink or that extra cup of coffee or whatever it is that people feel they have to do to increase their energy levels. As well as this practice will also show people how to decrease stress, correct?
Correct, all of that. And it's really true. It will do all of that. And sometimes it does it, we'll see. We'll do a little test, see how long it takes you. I'm predicting 2 days for you.
Oh, I'm sorry, because listen, I'll be on the air talking about it. So I'm really excited. Well, listen, Sifu, we have to take this commercial break. So I'm going to go into commercial break, okay? So hold on for me.
Okay.
All right, everybody. We are talking to Sifu Anthony, and he is the creator. His website is flowingzen.com. flowingzen.com. He is a master teacher of Qigong, Tai Chi, Kung Fu, meditation, I mean, and just a really, really nice person to conversate with, too. I'm so excited that he's coming in February. But anyway, we are going to go into commercial break. You are listening to Evolve on WOIC 1230 Columbia. I'm Tazima, and our guest today is Sifu Anthony from FlowingZen.com. Are you suffering from lower back pain, stiffness, or stress? Are you overweight? If so, yoga can be the prescription you need. Come see us at Sun Spirit Yoga Wellness at 735 Meeting Street in West Columbia, where we use a holistic approach for mind, body, and spirit. You can also purchase all of your yoga supplies and more in our Zen-like retail store. Sun Spirit Yoga Wellness online at sunspirityoga.net. Yoga for the everyday person. Did you know that you can listen to Evolve live on the internet? Just go to www.tazima.net and click on Listen Live. Tazima, Tzima.net. Politics, empowerment, spirit, love, relationships, race, religion, energy. Things that affect our everyday life. We have a divine right to be happy and a responsibility to evolve. So let's talk about it and find solutions together.
Evolve with Tazima. Weekday mornings at 10 on 1230 WOIC.
All right, Columbia, and we are back from commercial break. And on the phone today, I have Sifu Anthony from out of Florida. I love talking to him. Anything that's going to help us improve our well-being, I'm all for it. But he has Flowing Zen, which is a combination of practices like Qigong and Tai Chi and meditation and Kung Fu, a combination that he's figured out a way to, I guess, condense it down into like 15-minute practices like that you do once a day. And the benefits are awesome. Let me tell you some of them before I bring Sifu Anthony back up on the line. It's you can be stronger, you get more energized, you look and feel youthful. Okay, you know I'm doing it for that alone. Okay. It can help heal injury, cure diseases, overcome anxiety and depression, lose weight. I mean, there are so many benefits to this. And you just have to devote yourself to 15 minutes a day. So we have on the line with us Sifu Anthony, and he's Anthony, and he's talking to us about Flowing Zen, and he's going to be coming here February 9th, and it's going to be an all-day event. I would encourage you all to check it out. I know I'm going to be out there. Okay, Sifu Anthony, you on the line?
I'm here.
Good. Okay, so you know what? We were talking a little bit about, how so many people are on different types of medication and stuff. This starts early, too, because they diagnose our children with, ADHD, ADD, and some other alphabets, and then they put them on this medication. Is this something that parents may want to check out as an alternative to that, or is it something that can be worked out with that if they're on medication for those kind of issues?
Oh, absolutely. Now, my attitude towards medication is that it's, I believe in responsible medication, which means don't self-medicate in either direction. Don't go on it, don't go off it without the help of a professional.
Exactly.
But what a lot of my students have found is that by practicing Qigong, Flowing Zen, Tai Chi, by practicing it, their doctors naturally start to ask questions. Wow, it doesn't seem like you need this anymore, and they just they gradually get off whatever their medications are,
right,
because the body's taking care of it. Right, the body is doing what it's supposed to do. Which, after listening to all those benefits that you described, if people are wondering, well, how can it do so many things? It's very simple. It's your body that's doing all those things. Right. We've been conditioned to think that our bodies are broken, and they're not. They just aren't working correctly. And if you get the body working correctly, it is amazing what it can do. It can heal itself in so many ways.
And the results, like you say, it doesn't take forever. So, it's almost like the body is so desperate for any attention that's positive, that when you do these types of practices, it just seems to absorb it really, really quickly, and you're able to begin to feel the benefits from it early on.
Yeah, it may take time to actually get a full, resolution to various problems, but what I was promising for you is you're going to absolutely feel it in the workshop itself. Most people feel it. They feel great within the first couple hours.
Okay.
And then you start getting results immediately the next day as soon as you start practicing. And the results are gradual but compounded in the sense that you're healing so many things because you're basically taking your body's healing energy, the chi, and supercharging it. So the body just starts doing all of this stuff. It starts cleaning up the mess bit by bit, so you see all these results. And then after you've been practicing for a while, say 3 to 6 months, you start to realize, you know what, my depression is almost gone, or this back pain is almost gone, or the blood pressure is one of the fastest ones. I've seen blood pressure drop from danger zone, high blood pressure, say 180 over 130 or something like that.
Wow.
And it can drop within a week of practicing. I've had a lot of doctors be really surprised. So things like that, where it just you get some good results early on, and that, of course, what that tells you, keep practicing, keep doing it.
Well, one of the things, first of all, that I want to say is that I'm glad that you said that you can practice this while still taking medication, because you don't want to just stop taking something. So you were very clear about that. But by practicing, your doctor, your physician is going to see these improvements and may start decreasing the amount of medication that you may find yourself on. And also, you mentioned chi. So for those in the audience who may have never heard, chi, can you explain what that is?
Sure. Actually, it's interesting. Western culture is the only culture in the history of the world that doesn't have a name for chi. So in yoga, it's called prana?
Yes.
And every tradition has a name for it, except for modern Western society. So chi can be a lot of things. In the ancient Chinese theory, it's an energy that flows through the body and also through the world. It's just sort of a universal energy. But we can explain it also in terms of function. So Qigong and Tai Chi operate along the principles of Chinese medicine with the same principles as acupuncture. So in Chinese medicine, if you say stomach Qi, the Qi in the stomach, that also refers to, for example, the enzymes that get produced in the stomach, or the peristalsis that moves the food from the stomach into the small intestine. That's also Qi, that's function.
Okay.
Or the 50 trillion cells in your body, all the functions that they have, that's Qi. Even ATP at the cellular level, that would be considered Qi. So it doesn't have to be something mystical or confusing.
Right.
Qi is a simplification and a simple explanation for us, which we appreciate, so we don't have to use all these technical terms, for various functions in the body.
Now, for those people who think that, this is... I can't even think of the word right now. A lot of people think that this may go against my religious beliefs, or, this sounds like some type of hoodoo. Okay. Can you tell them the history briefly? And I know, well, first of all, Sifu Anthony, you're going to be on regularly. Okay. So I know because we cannot get everything out in 1 hour.
You're right. And I'm happy to be on.
Well, I am definitely happy to have you. You're a wonderful guest to have on the show, and I really mean that. But can you briefly tell us, the history of Qigong and Tai Chi?
Sure. To answer your question outright, it is absolutely non-religious. Now, if it's spiritual, well, that's a separate issue. That's up to you. I am basically interested in health and vitality. If these arts help to boost your spirituality, well, good for you.
Right.
That's not what I teach. So I'm interested in healing people. So it really is open to anybody, from all religions to atheists as well.
Right.
And that's really what my classes are. I have Catholic priests as students. I have rabbis. I have reverends. Really, you name it.
Right.
I've taught leaders of, I've taught a Sufi leader. I've taught it all. So you name it.
Wow. And so really it's just universal is what you're saying, is that this practice is universal. It doesn't belong to any one particular group, so to speak.
Exactly. Certainly not anymore. It did come from the Chinese tradition, but remember that the Chinese tradition was a melting pot anyway. They had, especially where this stuff comes from, which is the Shaolin Temple. Now, originally that was a Buddhist temple, but then there was a lot of Taoist influence on it. They actually had Catholic missionaries there for a while. They had all sorts of people in the Shaolin Temple mixing it up. And the thing that people really need to understand about Buddhism is it's more of a philosophy than a religion.
Exactly. Because I'm a Buddhist, and that's what I try to tell people, being here is that, the one reason why I chose to become a Buddhist is because it's really not anti-anybody, okay? We have Christian friends, we have Muslim friends. All of these people are part of the Buddhist temple, so it's not anti-anybody. That's why I love it.
It's like I said, it's a philosophy. Especially in Asia, there's absolutely no contradiction. I have lots of friends in Asia who are, say, Catholic and also Buddhist.
Exactly.
It's like, it would be, as a rough example, political season is over, but it's like you can be Catholic and a member of, say, you can be an independent. You can be there's no rule against that, right?
Right.
Not a contradiction. So it's the same thing. And I don't even teach, although it comes from a Buddhist tradition, that's not the way I teach. I think you could tell that I'm very results-driven with my teaching, and as I want my students to get results, I want them to get health benefits. So I'm just very straightforward in my approach to teaching.
Okay. So the history of Qigong and Tai Chi is one that it's ancient. We know this.
Yeah, it goes back. We can go back quite far. So certainly we're tracing it back to the Shaolin Temple in China, which was founded in the 6th century A.D., so about 527 A.D. Well, actually, that's when Bodhidharma went there. Bodhidharma was the founder of Zen. He came over from India to the Shaolin Temple, and he taught a series of exercises, including the exercises that I teach in my workshop, like lifting the sky. So that was in 527 AD. But then, how far back does it go? Now, Bodhidharma came from India, so did he learn yoga? So it's interesting what Pam was saying earlier about this. You don't have to be locked into one path. Because also, what I was thinking, I found myself nodding in agreement to what Pam was saying. And paths also crisscross, right? They cross sometimes.
Right.
They're headed ultimately in slightly different journeys. They will crisscross. So, did this art have influence 1,500 years ago from yoga?
The interesting thing about that, I did not know that. I did not know that it was someone from India who taught the Chinese about Zen. I never knew that. But what I do know is that the different paths of yoga, it's like the first images that we see of this practice is in Africa, in Egypt. And then you see it expanded in India. So it's like they took it to another level. And then when it got into China, it was taken to an even deeper level. So I think that might be a result, because Zen to me is like the ultimate. So I could see it would make perfect sense to me how that could have been originally some type of yoga that was then expanded and I guess deeper,
mixed. It was mixed because there was a much older tradition of Qigong and Tai Chi like arts already in China, so those would have mixed with what Bodhidharma brought from India. And then that continued to develop in the Shaolin Temple for 1,500 years, basically.
So it could have been a combination.
It could have been. I mean, it's anybody's guess.
Yeah.
What happened 1,500 years ago? We have some ideas, and I write about that a lot of my blog about the history of the arts and all of that. But and then to me also continuing this evolution or whatever you want to call it. I'm American, and although my teacher is Chinese, and although I speak Chinese, I have to interpret this stuff not only as an American but for American students.
Right.
So that naturally changes the art. So then if you had to sum it up, well, what's the most important thing if you trace an art back a couple thousand years? Well, it's like Pam was saying. To me, it's about what works. Does it work? That's the only thing that matters. Does it get amazing results?
Well, Sifu, I'm sorry, Sifu Anthony, we've got a call.
Okay, let's take it.
So let's take that. Okay, caller, you're on the air with Sifu Anthony.
Hey, folks.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Not too bad.
Okay.
This has sounded very intriguing, and I'm wondering, what was the name of the site again?
It's flowingzen.com, and it's a wonderful site. I mean, it's very informative.
Okay, great. In that case, I'm being I'm not exactly sure of the terminology, but I had that backwards. I had Zen flowing instead of flowing Zen, so never mind. I'm having one of those moments this morning.
No, but that's easy to do, too, because I did it a few times. And so I think that it's one of those phrases that it works, either way. But if you're trying to find the website, it's flowingzen.com.
Okay. That would make sense.
And you'll really enjoy it.
Indeed. I wish y'all good luck with that. And, too, I find it interesting that he's going to be coming to Columbia in February.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been interesting for him to come to Columbia before the holidays in December, when people are stressing out.
Well, Sifu.
Well, I'm teaching in Gainesville, Jacksonville, and New York in December, so I'm sorry I'm all booked up.
Oh, dear. Watch out.
But there's good news. If you go to my website and you get my free downloads, which you'll see, there's an ebook and a report there, and then a free audio that you can try. And if you want to de-stress for the holidays, it will really be a big help.
All right, Obsidian, thank you so much for calling, hon.
Well, I appreciate his input about that. That is very strikingly intriguing.
Thank you, hon. Bye-bye.
Have a great one. Later.
Okay, Sifu, you know what? I'm going to have to try to take this last commercial break. So
okay, let's do it.
I'm going to have to put you on hold again, and I'll be right back, okay?
Yep, okay.
All right. All right, everybody, we are talking to Sifu Anthony from out of Florida about Flowing Zen. He's coming here February 9th. It's going to be an all-day workshop. I'm going to be out there, okay? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So if we didn't get to touch on everything, it's okay, because he's going to be back. 748-9293, 748-9293.
If you would like to improve your balance, lose weight, breathe easier, sleep better, just live healthier, Anthony Korahais invites you to attend his life-altering Tai Chi workshops of his Flowing Zen Tour. Zero athleticism is required. For more information, visit flowingzen.com/events.
All right, Columbia. That's the last set of commercials we have to play for the day. And we've got about 3 minutes left, and we've already got another caller on the line wanting to talk to Sifu Anthony, who I also have on the line, talking about the Flowing Zen. This is going to be a wonderful workshop. And before I go back to the phone lines, I have to let you guys know that this workshop is only $99 for the entire day. You can't beat that, okay? You cannot beat that. So this is going to be amazing. I'm very excited about it. So I'm going to the phone lines, and Sifu, I dropped somebody. Okay, Sifu Anthony, I'm sorry. I put somebody on hold and I lost the call. So
no problem.
Let's get out the website again and let people know about you coming to Columbia to do this workshop with us.
So the website is flowingzen.com. That's F as in Frank, LOWINGZEN.com. And then I also have a local student, Dudley, who you spoke with, Zima.
Yes.
And I've got his phone number if anybody has any questions. Should I give you that number?
Oh, yes, please, please.
The 803 area code 750-1011.
Yes, and again, that is Dudley Jackson. He's right here in Columbia. So you can call him if you're interested in registering, or you can go to the website. But Dudley's number is 750-1011, 750-1011. I am so excited that you're coming here in February. I wish it was sooner, like Obsidian said, because I'm really excited now, okay? So,
I would love to come sooner. My schedule is getting a bit crazy, so between now and when I'll see you in February, I'm going to, like I said, Jacksonville, New York, then Ecuador,
Wow.
Dallas, and then South Carolina, and then off to Costa Rica.
And you know what? Oh, see, I need to go with you out of Costa Rica.
Yes, you do.
You know, I failed to mention this too, that you actually do travel all around, not this country, but as well as this country, but outside of the country, you travel all around teaching this. But you know what, Sifu, we have a call, and I'm going to try to catch them before we go off the air.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, caller, you're on the air with Sifu Anthony.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. I wanted to ask your guest, do he know of anything that's out there that slows down dementia? I'll hang up and listen.
Okay, hon, thank you. Did you hear that, Sifu?
Yes, for dementia, yes. It works very well as long as we catch it in the earlier stages. The only issue is whether or not the person can take instruction and follow the instruction. So I've worked with people in the past where they have dementia. And even if that's not the case, even if they have trouble taking instruction, in that case, the first step is to do an intensive course of acupuncture or chiropractic, which can help a lot. And then they can come learn from me and practice on their own to maintain that. I'm trying to go fast. I hope that made sense.
Okay, and we have a chiropractor on staff at my yoga studio. So
Great.
That's something for you to consider, caller, and thank you for calling in. Well, Sifu, you know what? This is the end of the show. So
Good.
I am going to be talking to you so we can set up the next time that you're going to be a guest on the show, because there's so much more for us to talk about. I mean, you can talk about Chinese medicine, the art of meditation, the benefits of Kung Fu. So I'm definitely going to bring you back, but I'll be calling you after the show.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. All right, everybody, you have been listening to Evolve on WOIC 1230 Columbia. I'm Tazima, and listen, I'm still blown away by the interview, okay? Everybody have a great weekend, and I'm going to get ready to go talk to Sifu Anthony. All right, you guys, have a good one.